All right, the backcourt will be revamped though, right? Like we know that.
Yeah.
We know who they're targeting. Jaden Epps and Sincere Harris will be a part of that, but they need help, right? And Jeremiah Williams goes to Temple. Obviously, Sky Clark is one Illinois is working on, the 5-star guard, but we're hearing a lot of names that they're going after, Mike. So who intrigues you most? Our Derek Piper said today that Courtney Ramey, Illinois reached out to him from Texas, a tough nose guard. Terrence Shannon, obviously from Texas Tech. Brandon Murray, just an unbelievable talent from LSU. And that kid down the road, Antonio Reeves, from Chicago, but played really well at Illinois State as a scorer. What intrigues you most out there in the portal for Illinois?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot that you have to factor in. Fit, culture. I think a lot of times we can kind of see the player for who they are. Mm-hmm. And then you don't like, is the person going to work? Right. I think I don't know any of these guys personally. I know a few people that are close to Sky. And I've heard amazing things about him, just in terms of just person, just how down to earth he is. And, but I'll kind of go down the list here. I mean, you talk about Courtney Ramey, experience, right? He's an older guy. He's good size. I know he's 6'3". He competes defensively. He kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit this year with all those transfers at Texas. And I'm sure that was part of it for him. And Shaka was his coach and now Beard's his coach. So, whenever you see a coaching staff change like that, you got to expect some attrition for the guys that were there. He hasn't shot it consistently. I know I think he was 41% his sophomore year from three. This year, I think he was more 35, 36. So he's certainly serviceable.
That career 36.5%.
Yeah. So he's a serviceable 3-point shooter for sure. Gives you another ball handler as well. I think he'd be a solid piece. Now, are you looking for Courtney Ramey to come in and be your guy? I don't know about that. I know he was 12 a game his junior year. I know that dropped off to maybe 9 this past year, which is actually, given all the cooks they had in the kitchen, I mean, he was still able to produce. I know it wasn't terribly efficiently. I think he was 39% or wherever he was. I would love, and when I say love, I mean, I would love to see Brandon Murray, Illinois, because I think he's extremely attractive because he's a guy that gives you a ton of versatility on that wing, which is, I think, what you were missing in the tournament. He put up solid numbers in the SEC for a tournament team in LSU. And
by the way, playing 6'5", 215, average 10 a game as a freshman.
Yeah, all SEC or all freshman SEC team. And look, I don't care who you are. If you're playing 31 minutes a game as a freshman and at a high major that's winning games, you're doing the right thing. That means you're guarding. That means you're doing all those little things. And that's somebody that I think would make a massive impact for this Illinois team, because look, this isn't a grad transfer. Right, this is a guy that you can build with. This isn't a guy that you say, hey, he's a projected lottery pick next year. I think he certainly has NBA potential. And could he stay all 3 years, I guess, if he came to Illinois? Maybe. Could he leave earlier? Maybe. But look, that's a guy that you can certainly add, and he can make an impact immediately. There's no question about it. And then Sky's electric, man. He's just different. He plays with fantastic pace. You can't speed him up. He's got a great jumper. He's a guy that can shoot it. And I think the most important piece with a guy like Sky Clark is he can play on and off the ball. Mm-hmm. Like, Sky isn't a guy that is just only dominant when he has the ball in his hands. And look at any team this year that did anything in the NCAA tournament. It is not just point guard, shooting guards, small forward, power forward, center. It's all these different interchangeable pieces at the guard spot. Okay. It's Caleb Love can handle it, but so can RJ Davis. It's, and that kind of 1-2 punch, 1-2-3 punch, if you want to call it, if you can get guys in your backcourt that can all handle it and can be off the ball and come off of ball screens. That's the other thing too. That's where the hang up always is. And when I say on the ball, off the ball, you can look at a guy who can break a guy down off the dribble and maybe bring the ball up the court. That's totally different than a guy that is good in ball screens. This is a ball screen game, and that's what separates a guy and either is going to let him be a guy that's on the ball or off the ball, is how good he is in ball screens. So looking at a Brandon Murray, Ramey, obviously good in ball screens, Sky Clark, fantastic in ball screens, but like all these guys, I know Murray didn't shoot it unbelievably well from three. I know he's 33%, but as a freshman, it's always kind of hard to read into those types of numbers. And look, I think you get any of those three guys, and Terrence Shannon as well. I mean, I know he was 38% from three, playing for the best defense in the country. Obviously, would be another really good piece there. And I know there's there's ties there, there's connections there. But you always got to make sure, no matter what it is, that everybody fits in. All those guys that I mentioned, they're all great players. And I think that next step is just, how do they fit in? Okay. Are we bringing in somebody that's going to be a distraction? And that goes for anybody that is, looking into the transfer portal, right? Like, how are they going to fit in? What are their expectations? And I think if you can be on the same page with those guys, and you can look those guys dead in the eye and say, hey, do you want to come here and win some championships? And they can look you back in the face and say, yeah, that's what I want to do. And because Illinois has proven along the way that we can compete for championships and we can also help develop you. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's the best of both worlds. And that's why going to a school like Illinois, the next step is obviously getting some more of that face time in March, where you're going to a Sweet 16, going to Elite Eight. Everybody's sitting at home watching it, learning more about your program, learning more about those said guys that you developed. That just becomes more of a marketing tool and a portal tool, as I mentioned. So a lot of good options out there. And I think by the end of this week, there's going to be even more. So you keep reassessing and trying to understand, like, who's the best fit and who can come and truly make an impact.